I want to talk about how we set our goals. Yeah, we always quote Habakkuk. That's what God wants us to do. God wants us to write it down, right? Make it plain. You know how at the beginning of the year, we're encouraged to always write out our goals for the year, what we want, what we expect from God, what we want God to do for us. That's the Christ standard. But then there's a world standard that talks about goals, right? And a goal is not a goal until you have put a timeline to it. And there's a bit of a problem there, because when you begin to attach timelines to when you want things to happen, when it eventually happens, you begin to glory in the time that it happened, not in the person who made it happen. So what I've come to observe in my life is whenever I write out what I'm trusting God for, in a year, for example, I don't like to put a date to it when I want it to happen. I just write it down. I write down like a whole list of things I want to happen in the year. For example, 2025. And I just leave it, I pray upon it, and I table it to God. Do you know that by the end of the year, when I look back at those things, I see that those things have actually come to pass in the time that God wanted it to come to pass? Because God exists outside of time. Putting a specific time to when you want something to happen is like you're limiting God. Take, for example, in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years, I want to become this person. I want to become that person, right? That's okay. You can put a timeline to it. Timelines are fine, right? So like in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, I want to be this, I want to have this, and all of that. You can write it down and then come back in 5 or in 10 years time and look at that list that you wrote down. You will see that for the most part, at least maybe 50, 80 or a whole 100% of those things that you wrote down has come to pass, right? That's the beauty of writing things down, right? But when you begin to put a date to it, what happens is you become anxious, you become weary, because now you're looking forward to the date. On the 1st of December 2030, this is going to happen. You are more drawn now to the date. Oh, by the time I'm 30, this should have happened. Do you know what the problem with putting those kind of things in your goal is? You putting a specific date to when you want something to happen. Besides you being very anxious, besides you being distracted, besides you being weary, you are giving the enemy a landmark. You are showing the enemy a landmark of where to wait for you. Don't do that. So write out your vision, give yourself a whole timeline, and just trust God that it will happen when He wants it to happen, because God knows you better than you even know yourself.